Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I would guess that if you go and ask people in the street if they think that Russia is losing the war in Ukraine and is isolated from the rest of the world, and its economy collapses because of our strong sanctions, I would suspect that the opinion would be overwhelmingly on that side, which is yes, Russia is losing, the economy is destroyed, our sanctions are working, all those sanctions that we place on them on their fossil fuels are working. Well, the reality, I think, is other. And why? Because almost every week there's another country, another deal made between the Russians and whatever other country, or other countries want to join BRICS, or they want to join the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or something like that. Now I have this article that, again, this is to show how Russia is isolated in selling its oil. Destroying Putin's war machine. I heard the thing with the war machine. Saddam Hussein had a war machine. I was laughing my ass when I heard, oh, Saddam has a war machine. All rusty. Okay. So let's see. Pakistan, right here, Pakistan, which is one of United States' friends, buys the first batch of Russian oil. It just got to Pakistan. So according to Sputnik, from 2 hours ago, June 11th, 2023, Pakistani Prime Minister says first batch of Russian oil delivered to Pakistan. How is this possible? I ask you, my friends. How is this possible? I thought that there's a ban. I thought there are sanctions. I thought that these guys get billions from the Americans. I thought that these are their friends. I thought that CIA have bases over there in Pakistan. They bombarded, if you remember, one of Al-Qaeda or ISIS terrorists in the sovereign independent country of Afghanistan about 6 months ago or something. How come this is possible? How is this possible, my friends? Remember, Imran Khan, the former prime minister of Pakistan, that somehow I like, he made a deal with the Russians on the day when the Russians started their unprovoked offensive on Ukraine. Remember that one? And then it was a no confidence vote according to Imran Khan, organized by, and he was kicked out of the office and so on. I'm not going to go over it. Attempts to assassinate him, incarcerate him and all that. Arrested and blah, blah, blah. And now this guy is receiving oil from Russia? Now? How is this possible, my friends? Who's the isolated country here? This doesn't sound to me as isolation. I mean, if you're isolated, you can't sell your products. Nobody talks to you. Nobody looks at you. Someone is lying, or some are lying. So, in late March, the Russian Foreign Ministry said that Russian and Pakistani companies were working on the issue of Russian oil supplies. In particular, they reached preliminary agreements on the oil price and discussed the shipment of a pilot batch of oil. So they said in March, late March this year, Russia was sanctions, There were like 11 rounds of sanctions by March. The first batch of Russian oil has arrived at the Pakistani port of Karachi and will be unloaded on June 12 if it doesn't get bombarded by someone. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said on Sunday, and I'm quoting, "I have fulfilled another of my promises to the nation." Here, this is campaign speech, because I think they will have elections late on this fall, I think, or summer, fall. And he's afraid of Khan, which seems like he's got like 60% of the vote, some polls revealed. Glad to announce that the first Russian discounted crude oil cargo has arrived in Karachi and will begin oil discharge tomorrow. Unquote, Sharif said on Twitter, adding that the country is moving towards, quote-unquote, prosperity, economic growth, and energy security and affordability. How is that possible? Well, The Prime Minister added that this was, and I'm quoting, the first ever Russian oil cargo to Pakistan under the sanctions, okay, which marked the beginning of a new relationship between Islamabad and Moscow. I thought that these guys were isolated. What's going on with these guys? So remember, this is what? This comes from Sputnik. So Sputnik tells you this kind of information that you can realize that what these guys are telling you, you gotta cut a little bit, and a little bit. And that's why I'm here as well, to some people who are not, into paying attention to the news and so on and what's going on the global arena, just to bring out this kind of information. It comes from Sputnik, but it comes from that guy's Twitter. So I don't care if it comes from Sputnik or whomever. I really don't care. I just verify. Is it verifiable? If it comes from that guy's Twitter, I think it is. The Prime Minister of Pakistan. And I knew they did hanky-panky, not hanky-panky, because all this is legal. And the United States could not stop it, prevent it, somehow. I don't know. It's something that it's not really kosher here. But anyway, I just made a video a minute ago with North Korea wanting to have a little partnership with Russia. Another isolated country with another isolated country. It's full of isolated countries wanting to do business with Russia somehow. No, my friends. These guys create here a little bubble, and unfortunately people are too lazy to look what's behind the curtain or even look outside and see for themselves. And this is a good example if you remember the cave allegory, allegory of the cave, if you want, by Plato. It's the same thing. You are fed some shadows. You are given some shadows, your own shadows projected on the cave's wall. But reality is neither what is projected nor what walks or it's put in front of the fire that you see the shadow on the wall. Reality is get your shackles out. You can't even look left or right. Get your shackles and walk outside the cave, and then you're going to see a real plant, a real animal, the sun and all that. Things that these guys are putting in front of the fire, in between the fire and the wall, and you see just a shadow and say, oh, that's life, that's reality. Not even. It's not even the forms. If you want to look deeper in the philosophy of the forms, you get in that one. So you're like 3 times behind what's real. The same here. We just see forms, and the forms that we are allowed to see, or at least the representation of what really is what these guys put in front of the fire, or between the fire and the wall. Sometimes you have to walk outside and see it for yourself. I'm not saying that the Russians are doing, because they're doing probably the same thing over there in Russia as well. After all, we're human, right? What I'm asking is, you read what Sharif wrote, and I have no doubt that the Russians delivered the first batch. And then with everything I know from previous articles and other sources that I have, and communication and brains and being around the block a few times, I can, connect certain dots and come and tell you Russia is not isolated. First point. That's one of the proofs. The second one, Russia is supposedly under sanctions. How come these guys sell it? How come they were allowed to do a little hanky-panky with these guys? And this is not only this, India again does. And India has been doing it, but India was on Russia's, they're friends more than the Pakistanis. Pakistan was US's domain. India was Russia's, or friends, alliance, however you want to call it. And all that, according to Dr. Jai Shankar, which is the foreign minister of India, started when they had a little hanky-panky between India and Pakistan. I'm talking about and the Americans were providing the Pakistanis, which was not a democracy, with weapons, instead of providing India, which was a democracy, with no weapons. And guess who provided India with weapons? The Soviet Union, undemocratic, the empire of evil. I don't know if they did it because they had a good heart or because they had their interest. Probably the second is true. But nevertheless, actions speak louder than words. So if you help me, and you're my enemy, and you help me to fight this enemy, I don't care if you're my enemy or whatever. You help me, and I don't die here, I will be, how should I put it, I will thank you for that. Russia, Soviet Union was not India's enemy anyway. It was just another country, but helped India in dire straits. And the democratic world was helping Pakistan, at which time it was a military dictatorship, if I remember correctly. So again, spreading democracy, again. And now these guys are just switching towards Russia. And I'm not happy because they just don't follow orders. That's a good thing. They don't follow other people's orders and be independent. That's great, which I don't know if Pakistan is ready for that. The fact is, I'm happy that people in Pakistan will have resources. That's what I care in the first place. And that's why I'm happy that the people of Pakistan, instead of not having resources given by the Russians, by the dealings with their government, will pay a lot for all kind of oil. And that's because other country dictated, not because your country dictated. So that's why I'm happy this happens. Not because, Putin's war machine. Putin war machine doesn't run on making deals with Pakistan. It helps, but not on that one. Compare with this first shipment to Pakistan versus China or India. This dwarfs compared with that. Again, you gotta know these things, and then you realize the importance. Now Pakistan has what, 240 million people, I think it has, Pakistan. That's a big market. Bigger than France, Germany, and Great Britain together, I think. I mean, let's say, Germany, Germany is about 80, France is 60, so that's 140, and Great Britain about 60. So, bigger. Pakistan is bigger market than the other ones. But you say, yeah, but those industrial companies and blah, 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 these guys are not industrial world. It's true, but you still have the population who uses oil for many, many things. I think that's a success for both those, and it's good for the Pakistani people, for Pakistanis. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.